And this episode of Hat Trick Hockey is brought to you by LaSalle Lawn Equipment. These guys are the best for lawnmower repairs, small engine repairs, tune-ups, diagnosis, free estimates as well. These guys will fix anything: lawnmowers, snowblowers, chainsaws, leaf blowers, free battery testing on site as well. They also sell parts for the do-it-yourselfers. So feel free to check them out. They're at 1929 Provincial Road in Windsor. Give them a call today at 519-256-3928. And what is going on, everybody? All of you beauts and beauties, it is episode number 109 of Hat Trick Hockey, which is always brought to you by our good friends over at GL Heritage, the official beer of Hat Trick Hockey. And here coming, as always, from inside Windsor Laser Cutting Studios with my boy, as always, Rob, inside Claroux & Son Roofing Studios. And Rob, let's just do it. Let's just bring him in. We'll bring him in. We got the new guy. We have Tristan coming in from the Barker Build Studio. Tristan McGuire, welcome to the team, kid.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here. So happy, such a great opportunity to be a part of this podcast, and happy to be on the team.
We're happy to have you.
Kind of an honor, I guess. Right?
100%, it's an honor.
So, boys, what's going on? Rob, we'll start with you. What's up, dude? As he cracks his beer, takes a big old haul offer.
Big day today. Glenn started his new job at Chuck's Roadhouse. No free ads, but got his hair cut. You should have saw the mop on the floor. And another free ad. Paul Spitaleri cut his hair, and the mop that was sitting on the floor would cover your head, and my head.
Well, I could probably fucking use some. I'm starting.
Yeah, you could. You'd have locks, locks, bro.
I'm starting to. What are you laughing at over there, young guy? He laughs when I make the fucking hair comment. He's over there chuckling.
I got good hair genes, so hopefully I don't have to worry about anything.
All you McGuires do.
Joe Bernie.
I apologize for just brain fart, but yeah, like I got choked up reading and hearing all the names in this book, like right off the bat, like all the Maidstone people. Pardon me. It's incredible. Like when I'm done with it, Ant, I'll give it to you. And I really think that we should get Joe Bernie on here.
Mm-hmm.
Which book was that again? Sorry, you guys kind of cut out for a second on like my end.
Oh, the name of the book?
Yeah, like which was it?
Jim Mahan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm down. I'm down to check it out.
He was a Maidstone guy. He was going number one to, they weren't drafting then, but he was going to be Montreal's first round pick, basically.
Right.
And just an incredible read.
Mm-hmm. Before we actually go into the 73's opening night and stuff like that, before we forget, I kind of hate starting the show like this, but we want to send our love to Wally Tatimer's family. Wally passed away about a week ago. He was on the show. Wally's a great guy. He's big in the hockey world. So we just want to send our love to all those guys. Wally was an absolute beauty, and it was an absolute honor to have him on the show with us as well. So
absolutely.
Yes. I'd also like to send condolences from us to the Toms family. Assistant captain last year for the 73's, Andrew Toms, his mom recently passed away. So
so much love out there to both of those families. It's always hard, obviously, losing somebody. So anybody there, we're here. So lots of love. We'll jump right into it, fella, shall we?
Sounds good.
73's opening night. We were all there in attendance. Boys were buzzing. They outshot Dresden 36-14. After 2 periods of play, Dresden only had 6 shots on goal. So which was nice. Shirky, obviously. Shirky scores twice. Archer had one. Bugle, I believe, had the other one.
Mm-hmm.
McBride looked amazing in that. What was that?
Solid.
Shirky had 2.
Yeah, Shirky had 2.
Yep.
They were 1 for 4 on the power play. I just want to get you guys kind of thoughts on the game opening night. We'll start off with the new guy, Tristan.
Well, thank you, Ant. And I must say I was impressed, but at the same point, not surprised. Essex, on paper, they look to be top of the division this year, in a rivalry as well with Wheatley, which we'll mention in a moment. But I believe that Essex, under Jamie McDermott, we're going to see a bit of a different style. I think it's going to be a bit more hard-nosed and defensive, maybe less goals, but a lot more cracking down on penalty minutes and keeping that to a minimum. I thought Essex's power play even though they only went for 1 for 4, I thought they looked solid. And I must say that I'm very impressed to start the season with the new arrival of Jake Archer. He played very well, scoring the only power play goal. He's got an incredible one-timer. He plays in the Ovechkin circle there on the left side, and he played well. They played an entire new line, actually. All the new arrivals: Isaac Lee, good left wing, centerman Ethan Hamlin, who can bench press ridiculous amounts of weight. I want to say he did he did 280 for 8 last time I heard. So, Jesus. And then their right wing, Jake Archer. So all the new arrivals playing key parts in the 73's game.
I'd say he's dialed in, Rob? Jesus.
Well, that Hamlin kid is a stud. I know his pop, Scott, and great guy, great family. I was very impressed with Halsey, Shirk, and who's the other?
Everett Parent. He was centering that line.
Unbelievable. Like, how many posts did they actually hit, even on the power play? Like, yeah, they went 1 for 4, but I'll bet you there was 5 posts in that game.
Oh, yeah.
And we have to give a big shout out to Kyle Blow for potting the first goal of the year. 50th anniversary goal.
No, actually, no, he assisted the first one.
He shot it, and it went off the leg, I want to say, of Bugley.
Yes, it did.
Oh, okay. I thought he had the first goal, but hey, great for him. And he played a rough style game, which he's a big kid and really needs to do well in that role. So yeah, I was very impressed with the game, but I kind of seen what would you call it? The penalties really started coming. They started getting into some scrums, and the ref's only going to take one. So when you throw somebody down from behind, or whatever, and to make one point clear, Shirky did deserve the first star of that game. Man,
yeah, he did.
That kid is a water bug. Like, I love his style. I love his play, and he reminds me of? You guys probably wouldn't remember, but Rob Miller. Rob Miller was just a rat out there, or what do you call it? A personality, maybe?
Yeah.
we don't want to call him a rat. We'll just call him a personality. But yeah, fantastic. It was a great game. I loved it.
Yeah, the boys are buzzing. I'd also like to give a big shout out to 73's general manager, Mr. Mike Paley there. Mike. So it was Ethan's first game. So he came over, brought us down to the room. Ethan met a few of the guys, looked in the room. He got a puck and stuff from Mike. So thank you, Mike. Ethan's been carrying that freaking thing around all night. I'm just hoping he doesn't throw it through my flat screen. So if he doesn't do that, we'll be good to go. So thank you, Mike. So then the following night, they traveled to Wheatley. A little bit of a different game, a little bit of a different style game. Essex outshot the Sharks 29-27. Here's the thing, though. Like we just said, they gave Wheatley 6 times on the power play. They gave them 6 power plays. So penalties were an issue in this game. Sharks only scored on 1 of 6. Once again, Jacob Archer got the only goal for Essex. So he's 2-2 now. McBride stopped 25 of 27, so he looked sharp, but a lot of penalties, man. Do you guys think that this is going to be an ongoing issue, or do you think these guys are going to reel it in?
Personally, I believe that Jamie McDermott is the right coach to deal with a team like this. And you know what? With a bunch of new guys, chemistry, it hasn't been established yet. They've only had 2 preseason games, some practices, and then 1 real regular season game, now 2. So I feel with time, They're going to develop into a solid unit together, and they're going to realize the time when to take liberties and when not to. Last game, it was a lot of chirping and a lot of times where they probably went for a hit where they shouldn't have, a couple of late hits, a couple of trips that weren't needed, definitely. But you could tell that it was simply a psychological thing. In this case, I think the 73s were their worst enemy in that game. But props to Wheatley. They played a fantastic game defensively. Their goaltender, Ethan Hanley, played a fantastic game as well. I must say also a shout out to the defenseman on Wheatley. His name's Kyle Kelly. Just dropped down, I want to say from junior B to play for Wheatley. Scored the nastiest goal I've ever witnessed in person. He came out of the box, toe dragged around the first, it was a forward on the back check, then put it between the legs of a defender, and then faked forehand, backhand. And it was just all in one sequence, all of 3 seconds. And I was freaking out. Just that's the game-winning goal. It was the 2-1 goal. Crazy stuff.
Wow. That's awesome, Tristan. So you went to the game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who was the defenseman that Connor McDavid?
I wasn't
going to
say.
But, all right, hey, we don't want to sue anybody. Like, fuck, let's go.
Honestly,
oh, that's
well, you saw what you saw. So
little dangle snipe. So
it was something else. And you know what? I will tell everyone, if you ever get a chance, go to a Wheatley game. It's electric in there. The fans are really
there's
into
tons
it.
of OV. That's why it's electric.
OV and Crown Royal.
Okay, I got to ask you guys one question about the home opener. When Halsey hit that guy into the boards, was it what do they call it? A charge or
I think they called it boarding.
Boarding. Did you think it was a boarding call?
I didn't think so.
So it depends on the game. For me, I think if it's a wide open game and the other team has a lead, you can start to call, like a significant lead, 3 or more goals. You can start to call everything, try and keep everything even with a lot of penalties, make special teams more of a factor. But I will say this, I didn't think it was either, because the puck was just
I agree. And I'm not being a homer. Like, we love all the teams, but if you're going to call a boarding call, and all he did, I thought, was rubbed him out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And if I get called on a boarding call, you're peeling him off the boards.
Oh yeah.
And it was nothing like that. It was like he stood up, they stood up. It was just kind of a rub out. That's what I thought. And I just thought, let them play hockey. I get it. It was 4-0 at the time, but in the same sense, you still got to be able to play hockey.
Yeah, it was soft.
Because like in Ant, remember when you grew up playing? Never turn your never face the boards.
Yeah,
that's what we were taught all along. Now it happens all the time.
I know. We were always taught to, like, stay tight tight to the boards. You'll never get hurt if you stay.
And
tight.
he was, and that's why I didn't think it was a boarding. If he was a foot, 2 feet away from the board, but he was trying to grab the puck off the dasher and trying to turn, and it was a bump more than a paste.
Yeah, I actually agree. I agree with you.
Yeah, you got to finish your checks, right? That's what your coach tells you. You go
100% right, Tristan.
Finish your check and get the loose puck, and
that's it.
That's what I thought it was. Puck came loose, and Liam went for it, and then all of a sudden he touches it, and there's a call.
Right.
Come on, Flutter. Fuck.
And then the other Flood was actually doing the game last night. So
was he? That's funny. Oh, so everybody.
So that Flood is Kyle. So Kyle did last night's, and what's the other Flood's name? Brandon. Yeah. Okay.
So everybody knows too, the 73s will be back in action this coming Tuesday night, the 27th. They will be at home against the Amherstburg Admirals with puck drop at 7:00. So be sure to go out there and check those boys out. I think the home opener, there was like 500 or 600 there that night, I think. So
just under 5.
Yeah. So not bad. So, but let's fill that place.
But I hear Amherstburg is going to be a pretty good team this year too, as well as Wheatley. And they got that Brandon Fraser kid who pound for pound, probably toughest in the league.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Tyler Frazier, I want to say.
Or
Yeah,
Tyler, sorry, I apologize. I'm so bad with names. Oh, and I need to make an apology to Bull, because I kept calling him Bear.
That's funny.
Yeah, we had him on the show and I kept calling him Bear. Fuck, whatever.
This is Bo Porosky?
No. Barrett.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't know if I'm just spacing out or I missed it or something, but who's the new signing?
Oh, okay. So I'll talk with the 73s you're talking now.
Yes.
Okay, so the Threes just got a guy from Leamington by the name of Connor McCracken.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Connor McCracken, he's I believe he's a winger, shoots left, I think. But he's a very hard-nosed, he's an undersized player, but he's skilled and kind of like a Luke Schurik, honestly. He's gonna just opposite-handed. So he's very much like a Cole Caulfield with kind of a Marchand mixed in there. He's very, very fast forward. He played for Leamington last year. I believe he had, I want to say 18 points, 9-9 for Leamington. Played for them in the playoffs, had a solid playoffs. But then Leamington had an unexpected player get healthy sooner. So Jack Cotter returned to Leamington, which means Leamington had too many cards up in the air. So they had to let someone go. And unfortunately, that was McCracken. He did play 2 games this year for Leamington, had 1 assist. And now he's going to come to Essex. So I think on the day of the home opener, they might have signed him a couple hours before the game. So we welcome him with open arms, and he's another skilled guy that Essex can add to their already great forward core.
Release the Kraken.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fucking game time, I'll tell you that.
Let's go.
So, like I said, be sure to check those boys out Tuesday night, 7:00 puck drop against Amherstburg. So we'll kind of flip it over into the NHL here real quick. We got a couple things to shoot the shit with you guys on before we get into our interview, which is a crazy interview, by the way. So retirement announcements in the NHL. Zdeno Chara called it quits. He was in 1996. He was drafted in the 3rd round, 56 overall by the Islanders. Played 24 years, 1,680 games, 209 goals, 471 assists, 680 points, over 2,000 minutes in the box. He's a 6-time Slovak Player of the Year, 7-time All-Star. He's won gold and silver medalists at the World Championships. He's a Norris winner, Mark Messier Award winner for leadership. He's a Stanley Cup champion. What I want to know from you guys, and we'll start with Rob on this one, is Rob, does he get the call to the Hall?
First of all, is that good?
Yeah, no shit.
Right? Like, absolutely. I put him in the Hall. So now he's going to retire and go do triathlons. Like, the man's an animal.
Yeah.
Like, there was nobody tougher in the league, I would have to say, ever. When you're what, 6'7"?
Yeah, something like
6'9".
6'9".
Small guy.
When you're shaking guys out like, carpets, you know what I mean? And he's done it so many times. Like, nobody ever dropped that guy. Like, how do you even reach up that high? But yeah, all in all, like, everybody hated playing against him. When Toronto would play Boston, oh my goodness, nobody would go into the corner except maybe Darcy Tucker, but that guy's got screw looses. So but just an incredible hockey player. 24 years. That's incredible. Incredible. But yeah, years. Hall of Fame for sure.
Tristan?
I agree. You know what? When you're groundbreaking like that, right? No one else 6'7" in the NHL would make it because they were either too slow or uncoordinated. And he came in and really led the way for defensemen who were 6'6" plus, could play 2-way hockey. Remember, like, how many years did Chara win that slap shot competition? 108 mile an hour. Like, he's crazy. Leader, wearing the C for so many years for Boston. And then, you know what? Last couple of years, he was jumping around the league, providing leadership to teams trying to make runs in the playoffs. So he's easy first ballot Hall of Famer in my opinion. So
100%. Did you know that they changed the length of sticks because of him?
Oh yeah.
really,
Because there was always only one length that you could, like the tallest stick that you could ever have. Well, it was hurting him because he had to lean so far over. Well, they changed the length of stick just because of how tall he was.
There you go. Custom sticks. That's crazy. Another one who went to was Keith Yandel. So Yandel was a 2005. He was drafted in the 4th round, 105th overall by the Phoenix Coyotes. He played 16 years, 1,109 games, 103 goals, 516 assists, 619 points. He's won the championship in Quebec. He was a defenseman of the year there, CHL player of the year too. Played over 900 games straight in the show. Thoughts on Yandel, boys? Tristan, we'll go to you on this one first.
well, you know what? A guy like Keith Yandel, such a fluctuating career. You know, he started out kind of this skilled defenseman coming in the league. I'm going to put up a lot of points. I'm going to be that number one power play quarterback, you know, running the point, putting pucks in the net, doing it all. But kind of as his career hit a midway point, he kind of adopted this, hey, you know what? I play almost every game. I should probably be able to do something more than just offensively play on the side of the puck. So he started picking up his defense, and one of the hard hitting D men in the league, like two-way hockey. You want it, the like coach's dream for a defenseman. Plays every game, leaves his everything out on the ice after a shift. Like he would block 3 shots on a shift, you know, go up the ice, get an assist on a 2-on-1. Like a guy like that, I want to say he has the longest Ironman streak ever, if I'm not mistaken, meaning consecutive games played healthy. So crazy stuff.
I think that's going to change this year though with Mr. Kessel, because I know he was knocking on the door of it. So
yeah,
unfortunately, it's probably not going to stick very long. Unfortunately.
Well,
But,
two different style hockey players, right? Like one's eating hot dogs, one's eating sushi.
Yeah.
So
one of them's clanging and banging.
That being said, they would, you know, like and like you were saying, Tristan, like how hard of a hard-nosed hockey player he was, you know. When you think about it, he played so hard, and they said that you know he would come off after a game, and he'd be sitting on the trainer's bench, and everybody's gone home, and they're rubbing him down. They're like massaging muscles. He's staying there. You know, they're done at 10 o'clock. He's staying there till midnight, getting, you know, shit fixed, sitting in cold tubs, you know, like so that he can go the next night just to make that, you know. And then you talk about when he went to Florida, when he was in Florida, what was it with Joe Quenneville, and they were going to healthy scratch him. Well, you look at that team when they brought that general manager in there too, and he's like, "Well, you know, I don't think that we're going to use it." Like, you know, he wasn't even on the practice squad. He was on it for the beginning of the training camp, and then next thing you know, he's not even on the practice squad. That being said, Phil Kessel has a baby. They put him on a shift. He comes off the ice, jumps on a PJ to go see his baby born. Great for that team. Great for that general manager. But you're going to healthy scratch him. And that's what ends up happening to end that Ironman streak is they healthy scratch him because they want a kid coming up to like.
Reminded me of the Mike Madonna thing and Mike Babcock.
Oh,
right. Remember that whole fucking situation? To me, that's in the same fucking category. Same category to me.
Yep.
Right.
Well, you know what?
This was a general manager. I'm kind of talking about general managers. Like, Coach Hugh was going to play him, but it was the general manager that was talking about, you know, I don't think, and you only have, you know, so many options to go play somewhere else. And you've given us this, but if you want to go play somewhere else, we'll let you go. But there was a whole bunch of shit going on with that. And I get what you're saying, Ant, but man, like you healthy scratched him for a kid coming up that he could have just crushed the record.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you healthy scratch him. Well, and now he retires.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's Billy Zito down in Florida being the
Right.
GM. That was ultimately his decision. You're 100% right, Rob, and disappointing to say the least. And
100%. Like the stuff he went through, the bruises, the contusions, the lacerations, like whatever. He did whatever he could. And it wasn't just because of the streak, it was for the team. It was for the guys in the locker room. It was for it wasn't for him. It was for the team.
right.
For the boys.
And then when they were gonna healthy scratch him, and then they say, "Oh yeah, we're gonna put him in." What does he do? Go score his goal. There you go.
Yeah.
How's that? Put that in your
Suck
pipe
on
and
that.
smoke it. Yeah.
The other guy was PK Subban. So he was 2007 43rd overall pick by the Habs, 13 seasons, 834 games, 115 goals, 352 assists, 467 points, three-time All-Star, two-time World Junior gold medalist. He's a Olympic gold medalist. He's won the NHL Leadership Award. No cups, anything like that. However, he was saying that he wanted to play this year, but he only wanted to play for two teams. So that was either the Leafs or the Habs. Neither team didn't want anything with him. Rob, we'll go to you first, Leafs guy. Two things I'm going to ask you. One, your thoughts on him, and two, your thoughts on if the Leafs maybe should have signed him, gave him a chance on a lower grade deal, shall we say.
I would have gave him a chance on the coming to the Leafs because what could they could have given him $1 million or league minimum. That's not a
750.
problem.
Mhm.
What's that?
750.
Right. And I don't see a problem with that. The problem I do see is he a problem in the dressing room? You know, like, so when he won that gold medal for the Olympics, Babcock sat him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think he saw the ice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so look, he's bounced around so many teams in the last little bit that, you know, and I get he's got a lot to say about a lot of things, but sometimes you need to reel it in. And who knows? I've never been in a locker room with him, so
Mm-hmm.
you know that's three people I've never been in a locker room with. So
Yeah.
I honestly would have signed him, but the general managers know way more than we do. So if there's an issue there, then that's obviously why they didn't sign him. And it's too bad because like incredible hockey player. Like, and I think he's got tons left in the tank.
Yeah. He's still young, kind of.
Like, it wouldn't surprise me if he goes to Russia or the Swiss or somewhere, but he's made his money, right?
Yeah.
He's made his money. And it's surprising that Montreal didn't sign him because he was a Hab for a long time.
Mm-hmm. What about you?
You know what? Definitely, he was a very charismatic guy, right? Very vocal. Really ran with his whole charisma. And I loved him. Ever since I was a kid, I thought he was great, throwing hits out there, scoring breakaway goals on the Bruins. I can't stand the Bruins, so
he's got a cannon for a slap shot too.
That makes two of us,
absolute
Tristan.
rip. And even I'll never forget when I first started getting into the management part of hockey, looking into that. The biggest trade in the recent times, in my opinion, was Shea Weber for PK Subban, straight up.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was like, whoa, no way. And it was crazy because Nashville at that time was Stanley Cup contenders.
Yeah.
They had a loaded squad. And when they add a guy like Subban who was more offensive than Weber, I thought they might take out Pittsburgh that year for the Cup final. Too bad they didn't, but you know what? I wish in his retirement. He was a good player in my opinion, and I think he was a class act. Yeah, there might have been stuff in the room, but off the ice, he won a couple of King Clancy trophies because he was big for the community, right? Lots of fundraisers, lots of things for children's hospitals and homes like that, and respect to him for that.
Yeah, for sure.
He did a great job in Montreal. Like he bought a wing or something for
Out of the
the kids.
hospital, yeah.
Yeah, for the kids hospital. Like fantastic person, but just I don't know. What do you think, Ant?
I thought he was going to be signed with one of those teams for sure. I didn't really see him being done yet, like considering, he's 13 seasons. Yeah, it's a long time in the league, but it's not a crazy long time in the league, you know what I mean? And he's still young. I feel he still has lots left in the tank, but for me, for teams to not to sign a guy like that, to me, like he's low cost, high reward. You know what I mean? And if you sign him at 750K and shit doesn't work out, just send him down to the AHL. Send him down to the minors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Can I make a point here? Do you think that maybe none of these teams wanted anything to do with him when he came out and stepped up for his brother on what happened in was it the AHL
Yeah.
or
We
Yes.
shot the shit on that, Rob, a while ago. I
yeah, but do you
remember
think
that.
that maybe that had something to do with no teams wanting to, like I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there,
I don't
asking
know if
your
that
guys'
would
opinion.
I don't know if that would have had too much in the play, but he's like, to me, like during the season and shit, quit posting workout videos, PK, and fucking get out there and worry about your hockey career. You know what I mean?
Dude,
Because he
it's
was
like my brother doing it. I had to
like
stop following him on Facebook.
he's like ramming up his fucking like TikTok accounts and YouTube accounts and shit like that for all his workout stuff. So I don't know. And that's fine. And the guys have literally chirped him during the game, have been mic'd up. I've heard a guy say, why do you go throw up another workout video? Like, like, you know what I mean? Like guys are still chirping him in the league about it. So
yeah, awesome. PK,
awesome player though.
Yeah, last couple of years though, yeah, he definitely dropped off. I don't know if it was something outside of hockey or just wasn't the right spot for him, but man, was he electric.
Mm-hmm.
Like the year he won the Norris, was it 15, 16? I want to say that he won that Norris trophy and just
and then he was on the cover of NHL
17.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was right around that time. Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Tris.
but for what you said, Rob, earlier about the incident with his brother and the racial whatever
racial
I guess
shit that was going on.
Yeah, the body position that the one player, his name was Jacob something, I can't think of it, but he made a gesture that was presumed to be, in my opinion, the wrong way.
Yeah.
I think it was completely wrong. I watched the guy's apology video and it's like it's gut-wrenching because it's really sad that everything has to be made that way now.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like understanding, yeah, we need to be more aware of this issue, but at this point in time now, it seems like everything's becoming more racially motivated.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's just what.
But that being said, Tristan, he had done that before previously hitting somebody else, right? So
and he said
how it turned into that whole racial thing, I don't know. Maybe
but what they were talking about is because he did the like tough man pose or whatever, like you know what I mean. But here's the thing:
made it
2 to 3 weeks prior to that, Tom Wilson did the same thing, and no one batted a fucking eye.
Yeah, when he was in the penalty box
against the Rangers.
Yeah,
right.
I remember all of it.
And no one batted a fucking eye.
Nope.
So it just shows you, right? So we'll see. We'll see. We got way off topic.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to carry on.
It's all good. I'm just saying. But yes, I'm just saying. Wilson did the same thing, and no one batted an eye. So what's that tell you? Speaking of guys making bank, Nathan McKinnon, 8 years, $100.8 million, 12.6 per season. What do you guys think on the deal? He's now the highest paid player in NHL history. Tristan, what do you think?
He outdid McDavid by, I think, 100K.
Yeah, something like
just
that.
For the heck of it. But you know what? I think this is a win for Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Talk up a guy who's wearing the A for your team. Top 5 NHL player in the league, anyone's list. Mm-hmm. And he's just coming off a Stanley Cup. And you know what? If he continues playing like this and you get the prime of his career on this contract, I think it's a steal. Because I personally am a Detroit Red Wings fan. And if he was making it to free agency this season, any team is throwing 13 plus mil at him.
Yeah. Oh,
even though it's a lot more than his last contract, I think he still took a discount to stay there, and good for him. He's got a good squad to lead.
He should get paid though. Rob, what do you think?
Well,
Nate McKinnon. We have to hurry too, boys.
As history has shown, and I'll make this quick. As history has shown, no team has won Stanley Cup with a $10 million over plus player.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got to say about that.
So Toronto's fucked.
And I said that. I said that before. Chicago did the same thing, and as soon as they give those guys their 10 plus, boom,
mm-hmm.
No more Stanley Cup.
On Patrick Kane and the Leafs too, but we'll get into that another day. Tristan, you got a few other notables, right, throughout the league?
Yep. I just wanted to read off a couple signings here that are pretty big, setting precedents for other teams that want to get extensions done. Jordan Kyrou, good young player for the Blues, signs 8 years, $8.125 million, which in my humble opinion is an overpay for Kyrou. But you know what? The salary cap's going to go up next couple of years. It's going to keep going up. League's getting lots of sponsorship now at the end of COVID and all that. And you know what? It'll be interesting because Larkin is looking for a new contract. And I think that sets the precedent for right around where it's going to be, somewhere between 8 and 10 mil, because these contracts, they're really going to set the market, with especially coming into the next free agency, the level of players you're getting at. And lastly, the last point I want to make is a couple of RFAs are not going to be attending camp with their teams. Jason Robertson, Calder finalist from 2 years ago, and Nick Hague, a good young defenseman for Vegas. So there's two guys who, if anyone remembers the William Nylander situation, they could fall into that same sort of deal where they're looking for a contract into November, possibly.
You're buzzing, kid.
And then he's going to be that far behind, which is going to be terrible, right?
Exactly. And then you know what? It really becomes teams are going to try and offer. You never know. Offer sheets they're an option. If you offer up something that this team can't pay, we could see something like that. I know the most recent offer sheet to be signed, I want to say, was Sebastian Aho, but then Montreal or Carolina ended up matching it. So then Aho stayed with the Canes.
Wasn't there also a rumor about Taves going to Toronto for Nylander?
There was a couple different rumors out there.
Yeah.
But they're all, I haven't seen anything on anything reputable. Let's put it
What do you
way,
think Larkin should make?
I think he should make between 8 and 9.
So my opinion, just because some guys nowadays are doing they're kind of putting little jokes in there. Like I know someone had a $20 signing bonus because they wear number 20. I think Larkin signs for 8.71.
Yeah, not bad.
Fuck.
That's
I
think
it down, Tristan. Jesus.
If he does, I'll laugh my ass off if he does. If he
hits
it right on the head.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, if he does, you fucking heard it here
Our
first.
boy Tristan.
Yeah,
hey, and I want to give your dad a big shout out and your Uncle Tatey for hooking us up with you. That was awesome. I really appreciate those guys.
Also,
I'll make sure to get the word out.
I'm sure they'll listen to this one.
Yeah. Actually, with the salary cap, real quick note. They're saying probably within the next 4 to 5 years that the cap's going to be up to about 100 mil.
Yeah.
So those deals that are $8-9 million a year are going to feel more like 5 or 6.
And it's awesome to say that Gary Bettman is actually doing a really good job. As much as I can't stand him.
As much as I think he's a Muppet.
Yeah, he looks like one of the Muppets. Like the old guys those two old guys that sit in the rafters
they
there.
Got the mustaches.
Yeah. Except Gary ain't got no mustache.
Yeah. Okay, so we got to go get pictures.
Yeah, so listen, we got to go take some photos. So until next week, we're going to sign off. Enjoy this interview. We got absolute legend Terry Harper with us, tells us the story why the penalty boxes are split up because of him. So everybody enjoy. Until next week, Rob and Tristan, we're signing off. We'll see you next week. Enjoy the interview. See ya.
Roll it.
Good one. See you guys.
Well, this next man with us here played 19 NHL seasons between Montreal, LA, the Red Wings, St. Louis, Colorado, played 1,066 games where he recorded 256 points, 5-time Stanley Cup champion. Let's welcome to the show, Mr. Terry Harper. Terry, how you doing, my friend?
Thank you ever so much. Quite an intro.
Yeah, not bad. Well, you played a long time, man. That's a lot of games.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I was very, very fortunate and got to play all those years.
Mm-hmm.
It was some great teams.
Oh, yeah. Where did it all start for you, Terry? Like, where did you fall in love with the game?
As a kid, I grew up in Regina, Saskatchewan, and played on the what they called the Parks League, the outdoor rinks, and from I don't know 7, 8 years old, and of course long winters out there, and we all fell in love with hockey. I was just one of the lucky ones that was able to pursue it as a career.
Mm-hmm. Rob,
so the thing I wanted to ask you, Mr. Harper, is how did it all start and formulate that you knew you were going to go to the NHL? Because playing junior hockey in the SJHL, I believe it is, Regina Pats,
right?
Going undrafted, how does it work getting into the NHL that way?
Well, that was pre-draft. There was no draft in those days, and the first time I put on a pair of skates and played in the Parks League in Regina, Montreal Canadiens owned me. Oh, wow. Pro rights to me. If I ever went pro, they would own us. And that was true. All the cities in Canada were pretty much divided up by the pro teams. I don't know how they decided who got what, but for instance, like Edmonton was West was for Detroit. In Winnipeg, a big city, so they divided it into 3, and St. Boniface was Montreal's part, and another part was Toronto's, and another was the Rangers. And as you know, back east there, all Peterborough and St. Catharines and those teams were all owned by NHL teams. And because the parks departments wouldn't allow teams to recruit from around the city, once you played in other cities, once you played in one place, then as long as you never moved, family didn't move, you belonged to that NHL team that owned the rights to that city. And so there was a progression where you went through the juniors and then to the minor pro and then into the NHL.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So if you don't mind me going back, Terry, like how did you get into junior? How did that all evolve?
I grew up in Regina and playing in the parks department there, and went through, and it's I just moved up from bantam to midget to juvenile to junior. Actually, I could have, I guess, may have been free to go somewhere else, but because as a teenager, my family moved to the West Coast, and I went with them for a couple of years, and then Regina, of course, I'd been trying out with them before, and they called me to come back and play for the Pats.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it was just nuts how everything back then was just so different. Like the game was played differently. Like I think back then it was a game amongst men. Like, you know what I mean? Like you don't get any of that. If you were not so good on the ice back then, you'd get a shot in the head. Like it's not like how it is nowadays, where nowadays there's no accountability.
But it's interesting what's gone on over the years, isn't it? When I played, if you touched the puck, you got hit. Mm-hmm. That was almost automatic. Then they got away from that during that era when the World Hockey League formed and the NHL expanded. They got away from that. And I just read an interesting biography of that Georges Leroux. And I didn't realize that during the 90s that what happened when they went to that wide open, no-hitting hockey game, each one of these teams had a tough guy on it who did the fighting for the team. And, was expected to do the fighting for the team and protect the other players. And Semenko was in Edmonton, Leroux was in Edmonton. There was just a whole bunch of players that I didn't know. What really caught my interest in the whole thing was the guys I played with, like I think it was particularly Henry Richard, there's no way he was going to let somebody else fight for him.
Yeah.
he was a little guy. He wasn't a big guy. Like I said, there was a lot of hitting. Every time you touch the puck, the guy hit you. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So can you
And
talk?
when they expanded, it got away from that, and that's when it became that wide open game that when Gretzky and those guys flourished, did so well.
With no more hooking and grabbing and all that stuff.
Not nearly as much.
Yeah.
Not as much. Yeah, it's not only the hooking and grab. It's just you touch the puck, they hit you, run into you. Yeah, not a big crushing hit that was going to knock you out of the league or anything typically, but they bumped into you, ran into you, bumped you into the boards, and you couldn't just get that much speed up.
Mm-hmm.
But anybody did that when Gretzky was playing? They were dealing with Semenko or Marty McSorley, right?
Yeah, but by that time there was so many players like him, so many more players like him. Even though there were those tough guys, those other guys didn't get really hit anyway. They were quick. They were out of the way before you got to them. I guess I don't know. Just the whole the kind of the nature of the game changed, and that's why it was. When I read this biography, I just said, I didn't really realize it had gotten that way so much so during the 90s, during the 90s. And now I think it's gone back to more the way it was when I played. Speed, maybe, and not as much hitting, but an awful lot more speed and finesse play, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Can you walk us through, like, when you walk into junior camp, what was that like?
What was it like? I was, as I said, I was living out in Vancouver, actually in Nanaimo at the time, and I got a phone call from the Red Pats, I'd been in their system as a kid, so they knew who I was and where I was. Called and asked if I could come back and play junior hockey. My parents let me go if they guaranteed I could finish high school, because I hadn't finished high school yet. And so I came back to Regina, and the Pats and all the players there, almost all of them, I knew them from Bantam, midget, all the way, growing all the way up, and played with them. Mm-hmm. And in the city, we, against each other in the Parks League. So we all knew each other, and I just fit right in when I got there. And that first year we went to the Memorial Cup, so that got me off into a really good start in junior hockey.
That's awesome.
So, Mr. Harper, your second year in the league, in the pros with Montreal, your first full season, you played 70 games, 149 penalty minutes. As a second year player, talk about what that was like, being in the box so much, kind of taking on that role of being one of the tougher guys on the team.
I needed a lot of rest. I was a young guy. I don't know. I don't really remember. We had a lot of young, smaller guys who I thought I would like to help protect, and I got through some pretty high numbers in penalties. I even got through a couple of years without scoring a goal. So I made my desire or forte to be defensive, be a very strong defensive player. So consequently, I got to kill penalties, all the penalties always, and that sort of defensive moment, finish out the games and tight situations, which I really enjoyed. And, it suited me. I wasn't as good a skater as some of the other guys, so I wasn't going to be that strong an offensive player.
Speaking of being in the box there, Terry, I heard that you kind of changed the game in a different way. So back then, you guys, when you would sit in the box, you would sit side by side. You would sit in the same penalty box. But I believe it was you and a gentleman from Toronto, I want to say, that you guys were in the box, and then you guys ended up slugging it out in the penalty box, with just everybody standing on the outside watching you guys. Now, I don't know if you've ever told anybody or anything, but like, what did you say to that man that get him that pissed off?
I can't remember. I think I probably told him what a jerk he was. The interesting thing about that was it was Bob Pulford, and and neither one of us were really known as big fighters or fighting that often, but for some reason, both frustrated enough to go at it in that penalty box at that time. And,
that was a war. That was an absolute war. I seen the footage there, Terry. That wasn't just a fight. That was a slugfest.
It went on for a long time. And the concept, well, it's hard to believe for all the years of hockey history before that, they set you both in the same box right after they took you off the ice. And at least in this case, there's only two of us. But when there was a real brawl, sometimes it was standing room only in there. And it's a wonder they didn't have some wide open wars in that penalty box over the years. And of course, there was always a little old gentleman, usually retired, white-haired, in there that opened and shut the gate. And he was in the middle, hiding in amongst all these big goons, as we might be called at that time anyway.
Yeah, because then after that, I think it was the following year, they were like separated, glass up at the Forum, everything, right?
Yeah, right. Well, they separated them right away, I think.
Yeah, but then next year, like glass.
Yeah, next year they put special boxes in. Yeah,
all because of you, Terry. All because of you.
Yeah, another fun thing about that whole thing is the guy, it was Bob Pulford. I went and played for him in LA when he started coaching there.
No way.
I kind of declared myself a free agent when the World Hockey Association came in and was able to go around and negotiate a deal and to move somewhere. And I went to LA where he was, and I chose him when I wasn't going to go to LA until I met him there and spend a day talking to him about his philosophy of the game and how he liked to play it, coach. I'd like to play with you. So I went there.
So you can almost say that you were a game changer, right?
In a way, I guess. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's funny. Yeah. They put certain rules in for certain people, and well, you got the penalty box.
You're one of them. There you go. Yeah.
Winning. Now, talk about the feeling, because no one else in this room is going to ever experience it, nor most of the people in the world. What does it feel like to win not one, not two, not three, not four, 5 Stanley Cups? Even just the first one.
I don't think you could even dream of it beforehand, how exciting and how rewarding it felt to be part of a team that proved to be the best one that year in the country, in the world, actually. In those days, there was no other outside competition other than North America that would come close. And it was great. And as anyone who's played the game probably has the same thing. It's a dream come true. Yeah.
What did you guys
get old after you won a couple of times either? It got better.
What did you guys do back then when you would go out and like celebrate it? Like, did you guys hit the bars? Did you guys go to someone's house? Like, how did all that go down?
Well, the big thing was they had the parade, and they paraded us through Montreal. I don't remember exactly, but probably from the Forum down to the City Hall, and then they'd have a official thing there and present and have the cup. And that was probably the last we see of the cup. But then it went home. It went back to under lock and key. It's not like now where they take it around the country. In those days, that was it. And then we would go, like you said, after probably, we even got invited. Toe Blake, who was the coach, had a bar right on St. Catherine Street, and we'd even get invited there to drink beer with them. After they put us in a back room, sort of, but of course we had to go and meet all the customers out front and walk through and say hi and then we go back in the back room and tell our own stories about ourselves, our trials and tribulations from that year, the things that had gone on and things that you teased each other about and laughed about. Yes.
Love it.
Were you back then where, like, they talk about even people that play in Montreal today about how they're gods in Montreal. Did you get treated like that back then too?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We got treated. You could not be treated better than you were in Montreal. No, although, you know, you say that on one hand, on the other hand, they booed players in Montreal.
So if you're not playing right?
Yeah, when they weren't going, like they booed Beliveau, they booed Jacques Plante. Those are a couple of the greatest players ever, and it was not unusual for them to boo you if you were struggling or something. In fact, one game, I got the puck in my own zone and went through the whole Chicago team, I think, down the other end. They were booing me when I started. By the time I got the other end, they were standing up clapping. and we scored a goal. They all think I scored, but I didn't. I passed the puck out front, and Yvonne Cornway put it in. And people even today will say, "Oh, I love that when you went through and the stands went from booing you to cheers to having a standing ovation." And when you scored, I said, "I didn't score."
That's funny.
But it looked like it. Actually, he put the puck in the net. By the time I ended up behind the net, I don't know what I was going to do back there if he wasn't out front.
That's funny.
That is funny.
Can you kind of explain to these guys real quick on the note of scoring goals? Can you explain to them the Harper hat trick?
Well, no. I didn't get a lot of goals. Like I said, I think there's a couple of years when I got through without getting any, but pretty much always led the team in plus minus. Every team I played for, I was always the best plus minus player on the team. So like some players, I didn't have the skill to score the goals, so I had the skill to play defensive, play a strong game, and I took advantage of that. That's probably why I was able to survive and play for that many years at that level.
Well, after 20 years, you were what, a plus 169?
I don't remember. I didn't keep track and don't know, but I just, I had,
Hockey DB does for you.
Yeah.
I looked it up.
You looked it up, all right. Yeah.
You're a plus
well, it didn't keep very good track of a lot of things in those days. Like they have me down for 19 years, but I was actually there 20 years. The first year I was in Montreal, I got to dress and travel with the team, but I never got on the ice. So you never got credit for a game if you didn't get on the ice. And I played with the Montreal Royals every Sunday usually, but I was in Montreal, sometimes dressed in Montreal on Saturday night. And then after the game, when the team caught they play Saturday night at home and Sunday in the US somewhere, when the team caught the train and went away to one of the American cities, I would stay over in Montreal and play for the Royals that night. So I didn't I was with the team sort of through the playoffs there, but I never got on the ice, so I never really got credit for another year.
As I understand it, your last 2 years, I believe, maybe 3, that you were with Montreal, you wore the A. Now, being the assistant captain for the most winningest professional hockey team in any league, how was that? Like, the coaches looked to you to be a leader of a team that had all kinds of legends on it, play with them, like Maurice Richard, Henri Richard, Jean Beliveau, and then in your last year, Guy Lafleur.
Yes. Yeah. You go down that list of Montrealers, and there's nothing but legends, is there?
Hall of Famers. Yeah.
Some of the greatest ever to play in the game. Yeah. Not that there weren't some other great players on the other teams, but the ones in Montreal particularly. And that's why, they kept winning cups, I guess. You got to say that, what Henry win 11 of them?
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Makes me look like a piker. But that's a lot of the guys there had 5, 6, 7 Stanley Cups. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Did you used to hack darts with Lafleur?
Did I what?
Used to hack darts with Lafleur?
Yeah. He couldn't keep up with me.
There you go. There you go. Hey, Ter, who did you score your first NHL goal on?
I have no idea.
No?
And I have the puck somewhere, I think. I'm not even sure it's the right one, but but it's no, I don't remember. I don't know.
The kid sold it.
One time thought it was Detroit, but then yeah, at one time I thought it was Detroit, maybe, but my first really game when I got to play in Montreal, I think was against Detroit, and I fell down and Howe got a breakaway. So maybe that's what I'm remembering.
Oh.
You ever get elbowed by Howe?
Oh no. No. He's just a tough player, and actually I didn't have that much to do with him because he was a right winger and came down on the left defense. I got all the left, like Bobby Hall. I still got dents in my shins from the shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got like Frank Mahovlich and all the big great left wingers come down mostly on my side. You get a few tussles with Howe, but not really not in your corner all the time. He'd be in LePerrier's corner or my first player, John Guy Talbot.
I was just wondering if his elbows were as sharp as they say they were.
I think he was just a tough player. He just wasn't going to take any guff from anybody. And I don't know that it was elbows. It was just, strong, muscular guy who hit you into the boards. He held you there. Yeah.
Ooh, that's brutal.
I
can imagine getting hit by that guy, man. I've seen photos of him when he was like younger. It's like, man, he was a big, solid dude.
He sure was. Yeah. Yeah. So there's always been a lot of them, though, hasn't there? Look at Bobby Hall. I mean, when he was younger, he was just a real muscular boy.
Were you on the team when I think it was Richard got suspended and like the city like rioted? Were you on the squad then?
No, I was not. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was just the year before.
Oh, so you just missed that, eh?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Okay, because I know that was crazy times. I think my old man, he was like telling me all about it, and I was just like, holy, like I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
When you get traded for the rights to Dion to go to Detroit.
Yes.
Who did you end up becoming paired with when you landed in Detroit?
I don't remember being paired constantly with any one person. No, I don't.
Like, would you have played with Reed Larson at all?
Yes. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, Reed Larson. Yes, like lovely player. Yeah. Yeah, there's quite a few. There were some really good players in Detroit. It just didn't. They had a bad spell there. Their organization was kind of in a mess. You know that there was great players like Reed Larson, really great. Mickey Redmond was there from Montreal, Peterborough boy. I can't think of too many others right at the moment.
I was just going to ask you.
Nick Libet. There's just a lot of great players were there.
Yeah, that's crazy. Whew.
Yeah, and that's another fun thing. When I was with Detroit, one night I get a phone. We're in a motel. We're traveling, playing somewhere, and there's a knock at the door, and I'm in for because the odd number of players maybe, and I was the captain, so they put me in a room by myself. And I go to the door and I open it up, and it's Dennis Hextall.
Oh boy.
Well, I don't think there was ever a game I didn't play when I didn't have a fight with Dennis Hextall if I was playing against him. Like when we looked at each other and they like, okay.
You come to my room.
You're coming to my room at night. Eh?
Trying to catch you half asleep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good. But we became good friends right away. And the reason that he was always such a pain in the ass is he was competitive. He was like, he wasn't giving up for nothing. He's a real tough competitive player.
Yep.
Good fella.
Best ones always are.
Yeah, aren't they? Yeah, so many of them. Huh? Yes, they are. Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah, there's still that way today, I think, from what I see. Yeah. When
I
I
don't
do
think
watch
there's many as there was back when you played, but yeah.
Mhm.
So
Hey,
how were you
go ahead.
devastated when you got traded out of Montreal?
I organized that, like I said, because that's when the World Hockey League came and I was free to go. Well, I wasn't, and I was. I had actually made a deal to go to Quebec City in the World Hockey League, along with John Ferguson and J.C. Tremblay. We were all going to go to sign with the team in Quebec City because we could still live in Montreal and just commute. We get an apartment down there and play there. And the Canadians asked me if I would stay in the NHL if I could find a deal that I liked and get paid as much as I was going to get to go in the World Hockey. And I agreed to that. And so one of the places there was several teams that were possible, and the one, like I said, I went to LA first to visit with them, and they already had Vachon and Backstrom, who I both liked and both very good players, and some other good players. And I thought, like I said, when I met Bob Popert, the coach, I liked the whole setup there. And when I told Montreal I was going to go there rather than they actually were going to make a deal with Boston. And I said, no, I'd rather go to LA than Boston. I didn't like the Boston organization. I had something about Boston organization that Montreal hates.
I was going to say,
it's been a great competition between the two forever, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Blood feud.
Plus, it's LA. Well, who wouldn't want to go to LA?
Well, we all thought that wasn't hockey country in those days. And once I got there, I said, "Who wouldn't?" You're right. Yeah, that was the easiest place in the world to keep in condition, because you could go out, and I used to like to go jogging all the time. I'd go out and run on the beach, and you run a mile or so on the beach. It was like running 100 miles on the pavement. It was just tough work. Yeah. So I found that easy. And the other was, you're kind of anonymous. You could go and do things, go to restaurants, nobody bothered you. They didn't know who you were. So it wasn't like in the original Six Cities. If you're in any restaurant very often, there was always a bunch of people wanting to come up and talk to you and interrupt. And not that there's anything wrong with them, but they just sometimes didn't know when to quit.
But especially when you're sitting there trying to eat too, right? Like, it's got to get a little annoying.
Yes, sitting there trying, especially you're out with your wife or something, with family, and they just won't go away. And so when out there in LA, nobody knew who you were. Like I said, when I went out there, I left all my shirts and ties at home and bought a suitcase full of T-shirts and shorts, and that's all. Except
and Hawaiian shirts and listening to Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah, well, I wasn't quite that much, but T-shirts. I got a lot of T-shirts. Yeah, but it was a nice life, easy life out there, and I loved it. Yes, really did.
Nightlife was probably awesome out there.
Yes.
And then when Gretzky went there, he took it to a new level.
Yes. Yeah, he did.
All the stars started coming out. It was like a people watching. Actors and rock stars and everything was there now.
There sure was. Yeah.
Movie directors.
Yeah, he kind of changed it again a bit, but even when I was there before him, there was a lot of there's a lot of Canadians down there. Amazing number of Canadians, and quite a few that were in show business. And of course, they were always out. Every time we were doing anything, they would always participate in it, come out. I mean, I say a lot, probably was more than a dozen, but it just seemed like a lot for LA. Yeah.
And all their groupies too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I guess those were there too.
I got
That's why
you.
it seemed like there's so many people.
Yeah,
That's hilarious, man.
yeah.
You got to play underneath some of the greatest minds in hockey for coaching wise. What was it like playing under probably, if not the greatest, Scotty Bowman in your last year?
Well, I had played for Scotty before too in minor hockey, in minor pro, and I knew Scotty very, very well, and he was very successful. I don't know why, really, but I do know I played a lot longer under Toe Blake, and he was by far the best coach I ever played under. He had a real good feel for where the team was as far as mentally. If they were struggling, he would do things to try and boost them up. I've seen him do things like we play a game and we won 3-2 or something against Chicago. And after the game, the press comes running into the room, and Toe Blake's there, and they said to Toe, what a great game and all that. And they're all, of course, talking. Beliveau scores 3 goals. He scored all 3, I think. They said, what a great game. But, and of course, you know what the headline in the morning is going to be. Beliveau beats the Hawks, Chicago. But before they even say anything, he says, the turning point in that game was in the middle of the second period when Claude Provo caught Bobby Hull from behind and stopped him from scoring. And of course, tomorrow this headline still Beliveau scores 3 goals, but the by headline is Provo turns the game around. Well, Provo had been in a bit of a slump, hadn't scored a goal in, I don't know, 8 games or something, and not that he was a big goal scorer, but he just a great player. And of course, it's in the headlines, and they all run to him, and he's all of a sudden the center of attention, and goes on a little bit of a scoring streak. I don't remember how many or anything, but he just had a real good little finish on the end of the season after that. Was that kind of thing that Toe Blake was a master at. Scotty was more a disciplinarian guy. He yelled at people and stuff a lot more differently, but he was very successful.
Who was the biggest prick that you had to play for?
The biggest what?
Prick.
I don't know.
You could say it. It's just the 4 of us.
Yeah, I know. No. Well, the most disorganized thing I ever got involved in was in Detroit. And I don't know, they didn't know who's coach or who's managing. It was just like a horrible situation there. Yeah.
That's why they were doing so poorly for so long.
Right.
Yes, and they had so many good players.
Yeah.
But they just didn't. No, they did horribly. And I blame it really on the ownership there was horrible. Yeah.
Hey, of all of the cities where you've played, which is your favorite? Because you've played probably Madison Square Gardens, you've played Olympia, you've played in all the old rinks. Which one was your favorite?
I still think Montreal was my favorite.
The old Forum.
Yeah, the old Forum. Yes, and there's a lot of good things to say. Like I liked Toronto. The arena there was fairly similar. Detroit was not bad. It was a little different shape, the rink, and Chicago a little different. Didn't like Boston because it was small rink.
And you were a Canadian. So
yeah, and
we're a Canadian. Yeah.
They don't even speak right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's okay, Terry. You can admit it. Okay, you're a Habs guy. You don't like the Bruins. It's okay. It's natural.
It's all right. Rivalries are good for sports, aren't they?
They are for sure.
My favorite part.
Did you ever try and put one in the box where Ballard was sitting in that little area there up in the corner?
No, I didn't even realize. Probably didn't even realize he was there. We didn't pay much attention to that part of the game in those days. Yeah,
he was sitting in his bunker all the time.
Yeah, he probably was. Yes.
Who's that?
What's that?
I said, who is that?
The owner for the
Ballard.
Maple Leafs, Harold Ballard.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I don't know, man. This
Oh,
is
you
all
said
like
that
this is
fucker.
all older times, so I don't even
Before
know.
you
any
were
of this
born,
shit.
this all takes place.
I'm learning a lot of shit here right now. Okay.
That's why we have all the genres and age through here.
Yeah, get a real good mix there.
Yeah.
That is true.
So,
That is true.
yeah. Well, how do you feel about the game now? You like it? Oh, yeah.
It's okay, like the speed and like how everything's played, like just the freaking skill. But like, I don't know. I'm not saying I'm like who doesn't love and like any of the fights or anything like that, but it's kind of dummied down. I just feel like the bad hits and everything are up because they're not really, there's, like I said earlier, there's no freaking accountability forever. Like you throw that bad hit, you don't have anybody going after you like you did back in the day, right?
Okay. Yeah.
I don't like it. It's too fast.
Too fast.
It's too fast. When they took out that red line, that really screwed a lot of defensemen. You know, not being able to hold somebody up. Now they're coming at you at 100 miles an hour. And if you can't wheel backwards, you're screwed. You have to be a good skating defenseman in that league now.
Yes. Yeah, sure. That's what I see. Yes, I agree. Yeah.
And a lot of those defensemen just get crushed into the end boards because, you know, they go dump it in the corner. And if their partner can't get back there fast enough and you can't get in their way anymore because now it's interference. So it's free game on the D-men. That's what I see.
The automatic whistle on the icing, I wish that had been around when we played.
Oh shit, eh? You probably got pasted a couple times.
Oh, all the time, especially Boston, Philadelphia. They used to just pick on me.
Oh my god. Oh,
Yeah.
Philly, I forgot about
Throw into
Philly.
my corner and then 2 or 3 of them run at you. Trying to
Like the Hansons.
yeah, like the head, exactly.
Best shift in hockey.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Hey, I noticed you got a couple all-star shirts up there. When did you play in the all-star games?
Oh, a number of times. I don't remember when. Yeah. When it first started in Montreal, when we won the cup, they didn't, when you played the game, the winning cup team played the all-star team. And then a little later, by the time they got to expansion, that's when they started having two teams. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want to see them go back to that style of jersey for it. I love those style of jerseys for it. Don't you? The old school style of jersey. I don't like the new ones I have.
Yeah.
I don't like the All-Star game. I don't even watch it.
Yeah.
I don't have the time either.
It's not very
It's silly. Yeah. You know, like back in your day, they used to fight in the All-Star game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really?
It was a big deal.
Oh, yeah. Gordie Howe had a bunch of fights in the All-Star game.
Come on. I need to start watching some of these old clips. Like, what am I doing
They're
with my
unreal.
life right now, man? I need to be watching this shit.
Yeah.
Holy crow.
But when did they change that? When did they change from going for the Stanley Cup winning team to just all the All-Stars?
I think about probably late 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Expansion.
Maybe 60. Yeah, maybe expansion year. It might have been. Yeah. Or maybe right after that if it wasn't. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How did it get facilitated, Terry, in your last year? You only played, I don't even know if it was a half a season for Colorado, the Rockies at the time. How did it go from you that same year being a player to transitioning to a coaching role? How did that all work out?
Yeah. Well, I started out as a coaching role and playing. Yeah. I had basically retired and was back in Detroit, got a phone call one morning and asked if I'd like to coach, be assistant coach and play in Colorado. And I jumped at the opportunity. And the main reason was I wasn't going to do it. I told the guy, no, I wasn't really interested in it. I was retired now. And we had told, we have the 3 kids, we told them we wouldn't move again until they all finished high school. And so we had not planned on moving again. And I went back. It happened on a Sunday morning. I went back. We were having breakfast all together, and I they asked me who that was, and I told them that little story, and they said to me, "Oh, we want to move to Colorado, Dad."
Oh,
So I called the guy back
oh my.
and said, "Yeah, I'm coming. My family wants to move to Colorado." Well, we were kind of unusual for a hockey family because we went skiing all the time. Like even when I was in Montreal, I used to go night skiing after practice lots of times. And at the end of the season every year, we'd be going somewhere to go skiing and spend a week, like wherever there was snow, sometimes in Vail, sometimes in Mammoth. In fact, we were at Whistler the very first year it ever opened. That was the last place that had snow that year after the Stanley Cup was over. So my wife and I and kids all went out there for skiing.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd always skied, and they'd always wanted to live near skiing. So that's kind of why the attraction they wanted to go, I think. And it was a good move. We had a good time in Colorado.
How tough was it being a player and a coach? Like.
Well, I wasn't the head coach, so being an assistant coach, you're not really that tough. And the players were really good to me, and I think in a lot of ways I had been of some help to them during the season, helping them out. And I didn't start playing till later in the year when we ran out of players.
That'd be tough though, to do like coach and play at the same time. Like your mind's kind of here, there, a little bit of everywhere, right? Like you're trying to coach, you're trying to play. I just don't know how I can't get it through my head because in my time, I've never seen that, right?
Well, certainly not at the NHL level. That used to go on a lot at the minor league level, like the Western Hockey League and the American, not maybe so much American Hockey League, Eastern Hockey League. It wasn't that uncommon to have a coach who played some. And I think like in Ottawa one year we had a guy, Armstrong was his name, that played for Boston, retired, he played and coached with us that year. Usually they had an assistant coach too if they were playing, who would take over a lot of the load.
Now you said traveling, you guys did a lot by train back then, correct?
Only way.
That was the only way, right? No bus, not just straight up train.
Straight up train, yeah. Well, I guess some of the teams with the short hauls, but from Montreal, there's no short hauls, so it was all train.
Oh man,
yeah,
that had to make some long trips.
We spent a lot of nights on the train, hiding in the bunk, drinking beer.
Damn right, that's my idea of a trip.
Good trip, yeah. And of course, we played on the weekends mostly. Yeah, like we play Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, occasionally Wednesday. But so you always Sunday you were out after your last game for the week. You were traveling on the train home because it was always in American City. There was no hockey in Canada on Sunday in those days, so you'd be on the train going home. So, and you didn't have a game till at least Wednesday and probably Thursday. So you had some time to let loose, let down, and tell lots of good stories with the guys and drink some beers, and then still not lose any of your conditioning really.
Then have to play guilty the next day.
No, yeah, we usually got the Monday off. Well, sometimes you didn't get home. Sometimes you didn't get home until Monday night. Like from Chicago, we'd leave Montreal at 11 o'clock on Saturday night, arrive in Chicago at 6:30, get in the police cars, rush to the rink, or escorted taxis with police car, get us to the rink, get dressed, play the game, get back on the train at 11 o'clock, wouldn't get home till 11 o'clock the Monday night in Montreal.
Wow.
So that was a fun weekend. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I want to take a train to Chicago.
Oh shit.
Just to play a game in Chicago. Yeah.
I know these guys nowadays have it so good, eh? They're flying on buses, like first class, everything. Like you guys are the ones that to me essentially built all that up for these guys today.
Yeah, like any sport, the ones that went before had a lot to do with it. Yes.
Love it.
What was it like playing with Laney McDonald, Terry?
Good player, good guy. Yeah.
Did he have the big old mustache too then?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. I never quite understood that, but
He's a cookie duster. Get the crumbs off before they get all in your beard, mustache.
yeah.
Yeah, he does have a huge mustache, eh?
Yeah, it was always huge.
Covered his bottom lip.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Like a freaking walrus.
Yeah, like a walrus mustache is what it is. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And he was a good guy and a good player. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A nice person.
I liked him in Toronto.
Did you? Yeah.
Back then, what did you guys, because today a big part of the game is conditioning, right? They're always in the gym, always training. Back then, was it usually just a skate for practice, or what did you guys do to stay in shape outside of just hockey?
It was pretty primitive in my time. I was one of the few that did a lot more than just hockey, in that I jogged a lot and rode a stationary bike, but a lot of the guys did nothing but just skate. That was it, practices, things, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was starting to change. We were starting to, like today, their diet is really controlled, and they're very aware of it. Ours wasn't at all. It was just started in my era there that we started to become aware that probably the best thing for a pre-game meal is not a great big steak. Actually, Jacques Laperriere and I got started with it in Montreal because I had been reading one of my magazines. Oh, look at the NASA, the space group. They're not eating steak before they are going to have to work hard. They're carbing up. And I said, we should try that too. So we started to do that. And so we're probably some of the first that did do it in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
I read that same article in Playboy, Terry.
Yeah. Maybe that's, I was going to say, I thought I read it Scientific American, but maybe it was Playboy.
That's funny. Hey, did like you guys ever get, like, let's say you played in like New York, or when you played in like Los Angeles, whatever, when you guys would go out after the game, would you guys ever get to hang out with any of the stars, or like I don't know, yeah, just stars, just like movie stars, like guys that you would see? Like, is there anybody really famous that you got to hang out with?
No, there's not that I did. No. Some of the guys there probably did, but I didn't. By the time I got there, I was a little bit older and wasn't quite as always going out all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I had a wife and 3 kids, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So no Studio 54.
Some of the younger guys would hook up with some of the stars. Yes, they did. Not the big name stars that, but they had a couple of bars where they went to where they also knew they'd all meet there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we had Eddie Mio on a while ago, and he's talking about when he's out in New York City, and he's with who is he with again? Rob, he was with Ron Duguay, and he's out and they're hanging around with like Madonna, and like they're hanging around with all these people, and he's telling us. So I was just like, holy shit. So I just didn't know if you were doing any of that when you were in like Los Angeles or anything.
No, none of that really existed. And nobody knew who we were. We're just hockey players. I don't think those stars didn't really know. Other than, like I said, in LA, there was a small group. It's not real small, but a smaller group of ex-Canadians that were down there because they were in show business and writing, acting, and I don't remember their names because they weren't, the kind of names like John Wayne and Madonna, those kind of names, but they were people that if you're in new show business would know about them. Yes, they were good. And
I'm tapped, boys. So if you guys got some, fire away, fellas.
Were the strip clubs good back then too in Montreal? Because that's all you hear about.
Holy fuck, Rob.
I had to ask. It's Montreal. We always
fair
ask.
enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. Well, Montreal at home, I couldn't go out there.
They don't recognize you.
Well, the funny thing is, like I said, when we got home on the train from Chicago, sometimes quite often, it'd be Monday night by about 10:30, 11. And as if we needed another beer, we would go down to the strip club on one of the streets there. And not the kind of strip clubs. I think the youngest stripper was probably 60.
Oh my.
50s. They were not the flashy bottles, especially at, we're talking about midnight on Monday night.
Oh yeah.
Who's out? There's nobody out. The weekend's over. Yeah. So we go down there and drink a few more beers, like as if we ever needed to hoot and holler a bit, and then go home.
Bring out the Monday crew.
Yeah. Shouldn't have the Monday crew and the Habs are in the house, man.
I was trying to get all those guys to go home to their wives.
Yeah, there was an ex-Hab, well, I don't know if he plays, that owned one of the clubs down there. That's why we went down, actually. But there was a street, there was 2 or 3 of these, they call them strip clubs. They didn't really strip all the way off in those days. It was just, but it was fun. Yeah.
Good cover, Terry. Good cover.
Good cover. Yeah.
Do you still get out and skate and play?
I probably play 3 times a week on average.
Wow.
Yeah.
Doing it,
Good
eh?
for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe not. Twice a week. And often it's 3 times. Yeah.
Hey,
You still got the
didn't
old
even ask-
tube skates?
Well, no, there's no old man out here except me. Yeah. The one league I play in is over 50, so that is older, 50 and older. But the other 2 are open. There's some young guys, real young ones, like 20, 22-year-old flyers. They're very kind to me and give me a little room, and I have a good time with them all.
Didn't you wipe out there a few weeks back or whatever? Hurt yourself a bit?
Yeah, but not playing hockey.
No?
No.
Oh, okay, because you said that you I thought that you said that you were on the ice when that happened. That's why I asked you about it.
Yeah, no, I was out camping and it was dark and I fell over a big rock.
Oh,
in the middle
Terry.
of the night. I wasn't drinking all night either.
Oh,
guys.
I was just
Couple
gonna
of
say,
those
was there any
train
Bud
beers,
Lights
eh,
involved,
Terry?
or, you been sipping on the old cough medicine there, Terry?
Somebody had moved this rock.
The rock just jumped out and grabbed your foot.
Jumped and got me. I really crashed. I mean, my face went right into the dirt. I was spitting dirt all night, blood everywhere, scratched all up.
It's a harder hit than you ever taken in hockey, eh?
Yeah, as bad as I ever had taken in hockey. Yeah, so but it wasn't hockey related.
I thought it was. That's
Yeah,
good
right.
that you're still freaking playing, man. That's crazy.
But it's even crazier because the reason we went over there to go camping and walk in the redwoods, because we've had a hot spell here this summer. It's been really hot, but if you go along the coast, it's always cool along the coast where the redwoods are. That's why they grow so big. It's temperate, and it's a lot of moisture in the air. And I had a friend who had his wife and him were supposed to go to this concert over in San Jose, and she bailed out, didn't want to go. So he says, "Well, will you come with me? And then we'll go on these hikes." And I said, "Oh, sure, I love going over there hiking." Well, turns out that the concert was Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, sweet.
I don't know if you've heard of them.
Yeah.
They're not my music. It was quite the show. I loud. Oh boy.
So you dropped some acid and crushed some beers and watched the Chili Peppers.
Yeah, and my friend, he did a little survey. He said, "You're by far the oldest person here." There's nobody. No, yeah. The next closest to you is only 60. He says.
If I leave, you'll be the oldest.
Yeah, and I said, "How the hell did I end up there anyway?" And then I paid the price, smashed up in the dark. By the time we went to put our tent up, and that was dark.
Oh my!
Hadn't been drinking that much. I swear.
That's funny.
What's the secret? Like you're getting older now, and like you're more nimble than most people who have hit 40. Like What's the secret just to leading a healthy lifestyle like you do and staying active?
Just staying active, I think. I believe it's totally just staying active. Yeah. Always keeping active and bearing, not doing just one thing. Like I said, I biked and I hiked and I jogged, just kept very different things and even stretched a little. Yeah. Which I'm just discovering is I should have been doing a lot more of, as I've gotten older.
Change your diet too, as well?
My diet's always been pretty good. Like I said, way back, even when I was playing, how I was very interested in diet. And, I got away from eating so much big, heavy meals and eating more variety of vegetables and fresh things. Yeah.
Hey, what do you do now that like off the ice now? Like, do you play golf? Like, do you play anything like that now, or?
I play golf when somebody will play with me.
What?
I used to golf quite a bit, but I got away from it. Yeah, and now a few years back, my daughter was just starting, and lives here nearby, and she got used to take me or get me to go with her because nobody else would go with her. But she soon passed by, and now everybody at the club wants to go with her, to golf with her. So I got nobody to golf with anymore.
You're holding her back, Dad.
Yeah, I enjoyed going golfing, yes, but not as much as I did at one time.
Walk or cart?
Oh, both. Sometimes walk, quite often walk, but quite often some of the courses they make you use a cart now because you're too slow if you're walking. Yeah. So they're forcing you to use the cart or don't go. So yeah.
I'll always use a cart when I go. I'm not good enough to walk. My ball's everywhere.
Yeah. Well, I put in 3 times the distance that the course is. Yeah,
Me too.
I know what you're talking about exactly. Yeah.
It's 10 miles long. Mine's like 30.
Yeah, how could it go that far offline? No, mine's all over the place. And that's the problem with nobody wants to play with me, I guess.
Shit, anytime.
But yeah, just the whole thing of keeping active, even if it's just going for a walk, seems to work really well. And there's a lot of good hiking out here in California. Here they got a lot of their state put aside for recreation, like a lot of parks, tons of parks, and miles and miles of bike trails, hiking trails. Yeah, really good. That's one thing they do well out here, is have kept everything from being developed, houses built on it, kept all these green areas. Everybody kind of makes fun of the California and their green areas, a green attitude, but it's really pays off. It's a good place to live because of that, I think.
Awesome.
So I always like to finish off my questions with how they have the horn in the NHL when you score a goal, which I can't stand.
I think
it takes away from the cheering of the crowd. Like I can understand that if you don't have enough fan base to have something that's loud, but Toronto doesn't need one. Detroit doesn't need one. Like those big teams, they don't need them. But if you scored a goal, like we'll say one of your 3 in a year, what song would they end up playing that you'd like to hear? What would be your song that they would play?
Oh, I don't know. Red Hot Chili Peppers.
And not give it away now.
Yeah, there you go. I don't even know the songs. I just jump into them. Couldn't sit still.
That's hilarious, though, man.
You just hit on something that really irks me when I go to a game. Right now, they'll go to the game and they'll start flashing up, make noise on the thing.
Yeah,
what do they call
Jumbotron.
So yeah, people make noise when they deserve it, when it's good.
Right.
If they see something, they're going to clap. just to make noise because somebody's egging you on and they're playing the music. I hate that.
Yeah. Don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I agree with
Well,
you there.
it's the same thing where they start doing the crowd shots, different things, and yeah, come on. I know what I hate is between periods in San Jose. You go there and they got all these stupid games and things going on out in the ice, and they got that big what do you call thing in the middle of
The Jumbotron.
What Doubletron?
Jumbotron.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I said, well, why don't you just put the highlights from other games around the league, or
Exactly.
interviews from the end of other games, because they're all over by the time of San Jose, like from back east.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. You're there for a
Highlights
hockey
of
game.
things. Just hockey. Yeah. What's wrong with hockey? Do we have to have a show for everybody?
Yeah.
Don't go to Vegas then, Terry.
Oh,
No.
You'll fucking
I don't
lose your
think I'll-
marbles in Vegas. I'll tell you that. It's all a show in Vegas.
Yeah, no, but it just drives me crazy when I go over there that they would show more hockey.
Mhm. I
But,
agree.
there's some good, interesting things always going on around the league.
Yeah, sure. You could show highlights through all the games that are being played.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And here they're going, and they're all over by the time we're playing out here.
Right.
So they're full of very up-to-date ones. And instead of that, they got all these
That's a great
goofy
idea.
games. Kids out there falling all over and doing stupid things on sleds and all. I had no interest at all. And I can't imagine why anyone does when you could see, you could get highlights from a game back east somewhere that same night with, especially some of the great announcers.
Mhm.
I don't know them anymore, but you had the Montreal Cavalier and those kind of people that were good analysts of hockey.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Especially
Yeah.
the Leafs there every Saturday night there. Bob Cole, Harry Neal,
Harry
like
Neal.
guys like that, like absolute legends of the game, right?
Yep. We could have them on out here if they just pick up the feed from them instead of this stupid stuff where they're trying to make noise.
Hockey night in Canada is still not the same without those two.
No. Yeah.
And
To
your
me, it's
former
just-
your former teammate is the announcer for the Red Wings now too, eh? Mickey Redmond.
Mickey, yes. I understand he's done a great job there.
I love him.
doing
Can't
color.
stand him.
She's fantastic.
Can't stand him.
You what?
Rob don't like the bingo bango stuff.
No.
Oh, I don't know what he's talking about.
I'm a Maple Leafs fan. I don't want to hear Mickey Redmond.
Yeah. Well, I've just heard, I've never heard him actually doing a game or talking about it, but I've heard that he does a super nice job.
Mhm.
He's a homer for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he?
And Joe Bowen's not. Come on, even though Joe's awesome,
Joe
but
does
Joe
all the
Bowen
games,
is
though.
too.
Joe Bowen does all the games though.
I know, but he's a homer too.
Well, that's why we expect that, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, they're paid to do it, right?
That's
Yeah. That's why they
They
got
were
the
paying
job.
him,
If they
right?
don't do that, they might not have a job.
Yeah, that is true. But Joe is one of the best, so I do like Joe Bowen a lot, though.
I like listening to him do playoff games. Like Bob Cole used to do all kinds of different playoff games, and it was awesome hearing him do like Lemieux's, going down the wing and getting a shot off or whatever, scoring a goal, like just amazing voice. Like you could close your eyes and you can picture the game, him calling it,
Mhm.
Right.
and that's
Yeah, you
the
didn't
good
have
one.
to see it. You could
Right.
do it from just his. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what made him the best.
Yeah,
Mhm.
there's been a few of them, and they're really good.
Mhm. Are you guys all set, or do you guys have any more for him?
One more question. I believe your final year was 80 to 81. Is that correct?
Well, I think it was into 82 by the time I.
Okay. So did you ever have a game in that those games you played in the shorter season there against Wayne Gretzky?
Yes, I did.
What was that like, trying to defend against that guy?
Yeah, I don't really remember him standing out that game that I did that much. Maybe because we're more than aware of him, and I had been assistant coach, so we were setting everything up to keep him from getting loose at all.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I did manage to get one game, I think. Then, there wasn't by that time. We didn't play the teams that much because because of all the teams who were in the league.
Right.
Not, I look back when I played, most of the years I played, we played each team 14 times.
Yeah.
Wow.
7 at home, 7 away. And then the playoffs, we played them another 7.
Jesus.
So I talk about knowing the players and their habits and their tweaks, and twitches and everything. You knew them and they knew you. Yeah. So it was like more like a chess game almost in a way. Try and beat the other guy because you knew each other so well.
14 times, Jesus. And that's where all the stick fights came from, because players got sick of each other.
Yeah, well, now I look at, they play a team maybe 3 times.
Yeah,
3
to 4 times maybe.
3 or 4 times, yeah.
Unless that one freaking COVID year though, where they kept everybody in the same thing, and then everybody played like what, 8 times or something.
Oh, yes.
A couple of years back.
Yeah.
That got a little wild too, right? Because everybody was seeing each. Oh yeah, there's quite a few fights that year, I think.
Mhm.
Do you think it changed the game at all then?
Made it a little more nasty, shall we say, but it didn't do anything too bad with it, but it just made it a little more nasty, kind of how I like it played, I guess.
That's what you'd have loved with the old 14 times, because you remembered every event all year.
I was gonna say, I said a few episodes ago or a little while ago on our show that I was watching one of the old school games. It was from I think it was from the late 60s, early 70s. And it was like, I couldn't believe the clutching, the grabbing, the slashing, the cross checking, the stick work, the elbows up, the everything. And I'm watching the game and I'm like, that's a penalty nowadays. That's a penalty. That's a penalty. That's a penalty. And it seemed like I was thinking that every 30 seconds.
Well, really, yeah.
I like the game better back then. For the record, I like the game better back then.
Well, thank you.
I do.
I loved it then.
I do.
Yeah.
You should have. That's when you could play, when it was, like I said earlier, is when it was amongst men. That's when you, I don't know. To me, that's how hockey should be played.
Mm-hmm.
It's not soccer. I hate that. Drives me nuts.
Basketball.
Next thing you know, in hockey, we'll be laying down and flopping around.
Oh, they do that. I'm shutting the TV off and I'm closing down the show. That's it. I'm fucking done.
That's it. Eh? I don't blame you. I don't think we could take that.
I love it. Yeah, man, Terry, this has been fantastic, man. Thank you so much for coming on. This has been great. I wish you all the best. Stay in touch, obviously, and just good luck with everything, my friend.
That video that I was going to send you I was going to show you around my office here.
Oh,
And
okay.
now I'm looking I see it on the computer here. I said, maybe I could show it.
Yeah, give us a tour.
Well, this is kind of interesting. And I don't
5
know
cups there, humble brag.
See that old mask up there? That's a Jock Plant's very first or second one, very early.
Wow.
He never really wore it. It was one of much. And then,
He had a really small face.
yes, yeah.
Because it was probably caved in from all the pucks fucking bouncing off of it before he wore the mask.
Yeah, you should have seen him before he became a goaltender in the NHL. Yeah.
Oh,
there's Stanley Cups, and see that little statue there with a shield on it.
Yeah.
A little bit of a statue there.
Yep.
Some guy in Toronto sent it to me after the fight with Fulford. That it's like, I'm the Axeman or the knight with the weapons. Yeah,
I love it.
And I saw something I kept. I don't know what else there is. I know what I wanted. There's over here. Oh, I don't know if you can see the teams.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I could spend 3 hours in that office just looking around.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's got the Snoopy stuff. I love it.
Yeah.
Holy
So
shit,
that might be of interest to you a little bit.
What a shrine, Terry.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've
had some great memories and great things, and you guys are part of it now. I love this, talking to you, talking hockey and learning about what's going on in the world today of hockey.
Oh, this has been great, man.
Yeah.
So how do you know my buddy Cobber? How did you guys meet?
Oh, Ray Swartz.
Yeah.
I know him. How I know him is playing hockey. How
Oh,
else do I
okay.
know anybody in the world
Yeah, okay,
playing
fair
hockey?
enough. Yeah.
He's although I gotta say I have a couple of friends, like one down in LA, never played hockey in his life, but he is a good beer drinker. That's how we got it. But Ray plays hockey. He's a doctor and plays with us on Sunday mornings, and played in some of these tournaments. I've gone with Ray. Yeah, super nice fellow. He's a doctor, and
I love it.
it still works. Yeah,
Love it.
yeah.
But yeah, man, Terry, once again, thanks, man, for the little office tour, for the chat. You are welcome here anytime, my friend.
Well, thank you ever so much. Yeah, someday
That
I
was
hope
a pleasure
to get
meeting you,
to.
Terry.
Yeah. Nice to meet you,
Yeah.
Mr. Harper.
Nice
Hey,
meeting you guys. And
Are
thank
you ever back this way at all, or are you ever out this way at all?
I haven't been I haven't been anywhere for a couple of this damn COVID thing.
Yeah,
I
I
keep
know.
canceling, and then I fall in the middle of the night. I was
Yeah,
going to go on a trip.
Listening to the Red Hot Chili Peppers in a mosh pit.
Yeah, that's it for them. I'm not going back. So I did play actually in Edmonton about 3 years ago. I'm going to go back this year, I think, in Jasper at an outdoor, pond hockey tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I think I'm going to talk to Ray and maybe go back and we'll play on a pond, an old timers hockey back east somewhere. I read there's lots of them back there, and
there's tons of tournaments in this area. I know there's one in Amherstburg that they play. That's like they do like a 50 or 60 and over thing too out this way in Ontario.
yes.
If you're ever out this way, let us know though, because we'll be more than happy to drink a couple beers with you. Okay.
All right. Well, I can't keep up with you young guys anymore, but I still enjoy them.
Well, Rob right there. Rob's the champ on this show. So
I will remember anyway. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I was drinking with Terry Harper last night.
Like,
Really?
holy
I
shit.
don't know.
I got photos, I guess, on my phone.
Yeah,
of it.
pictures on my phone.
That's the only proof
topless.
we got. We got photos.
Yeah. As long as there's no
Everybody's
video,
got
we're good,
photos
Terry.
today.
As long as there's no video, we're good, buddy.
Yeah, no video.
I'm so lucky we grew up in an era when there wasn't photos.
For sure.
That's why you guys
see
had
a lot of them that might have got taken by people.
well, that's why you guys had so much fun back in the day, because you didn't have anybody ratting you out.
Nobody would rat you out. Nobody believed that they tried to rat you out because they had no film, no picture.
Yeah. Can't prove it.
Yeah, you can't. They tell you, everybody's laugh at them and say, that never happened.
What are you talking about?
You weren't drunk with them all night there somewhere. No pictures, no evidence.
Love it. I like the way you think, Terry.
Oh, thank you. I enjoyed talking to you guys.
Yeah, Terry.
It was a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you so much, man.
Pleasure. I hope to someday we'll get together.
Yeah, hopefully we do. All right, brother. Take care.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, sir.
I know. Thanks, guys.